Hello, this is Niswander, and you are watching the NOWMAN Show podcast version in this particular episode, and we've got a great one here. A returning guest to the show, Erika Podest from NASA, Earth Scientist. Hello, Erika. It's great to see you again.
Hi, Dan. Great to be back.
First of all, we have to start with the unfortunate facts that we cannot deny. And 2019 was the second hottest year on record. What was the first?
2016.
Really?
Yes.
That being said, what are the implications of that? I mean, what can we expect to be happening now?
Yeah, so that has tremendous implications on our planet. Global warming is the cause of climate change, and all of the changes that we're seeing on different ecosystems around our Earth, our planet. And one of the areas that's being primarily affected, it's ground zero for climate change, is the Arctic. This area is warming up at least twice as fast as the rest of the planet. And that has huge implications. You've got a lot of ice on land. So you've got Greenland has kilometers of ice sheets, and that ice is melting. And when that ice melts, that water ends up in the oceans, and that's one of the causes of sea level rise. So, and there are many other things that are occurring. You've got sea ice that's melting, that's being lost. So the sea ice cover is declining. It's about 13% per decade. And in the future, it will probably be the case that in the summer, it'll be ice-free in the Arctic.
Wow. And I know one of the things that people try to debunk sometimes is the idea of global warming, right? Which is why the conversation shifted to like climate change, just like climate scientists, earth to earth science. It's all the same thing, but it's like, and because people say, well, it was freezing cold here last winter. I mean, like, people on the East Coast or whatever said, we were down in the below freezing for long periods of time. There's no such thing as global warming. That's not global warming. It's colder, and it's extreme weather, right? Extreme temperatures. How would you describe what really the effects of global warming as far as the temperature is concerned when people have those kinds of critiques and they say, well, it's colder, it's not hotter?
Right. So one thing is weather. The other thing is climate, right? So weather is day to day, right? You get your weather forecast, and they can forecast that out to a couple of days. Now, when you're talking about climate, that's something a bit more permanent, that's characteristic of a certain region, long-term characteristic. And so what we're looking at is how the climate is changing. The fact that today is colder than usual it's not necessarily an indicator of things not happening, right? So you have to look at the long-term average, and that is really what tells the story here. So if you look at how temperature is changing in the last couple of decades, if you look at how sea ice is changing in the Arctic in the last couple of decades, if you look at sea level rise in the last couple of decades, then that really tells a story. Everything is telling us that things are changing, right? So all the symptoms are there, that there is a big change going on in our planet.
And that's really what global warming and climate change is about, which is much greater than the weather, which people, that's what they see in their own communities, but they don't necessarily see the bigger picture. They don't see the melting ice. They don't see those pictures of, the polar bears on little pieces of ice. They don't see like you do when you go to the northern high latitudes and you see the vegetation growing where there should be more ice, right? Those are the things. Those are the facts that you see, that you put together with all your data to come to the conclusions that you do. So the scientists seem to be saying that we've got to get our act together in the next 10 years. Is that right? We need to really transition away from, for instance, fossil fuels in the next 10 years?
Correct. So the main culprit for global warming is an increase in greenhouse gases. So if you think about it, our atmosphere is a layer of gases that surrounds our planet, and some of these gases are greenhouse gases, and these greenhouse gases, they retain heat. It's natural. It's a natural part of Earth's system. If it weren't for those greenhouse gases, Earth would probably be too cold a place to live.
Yeah.
But we are increasing the concentration of those greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide. And that is causing our planet to warm. So we're increasing that blanket, that capability of Earth to retain heat. And that's causing all of these other effects, the melting of ice, the increase in sea levels, the just ecosystems are being affected, all this havoc. So that's climate change. So we need to do something about it to stop the acceleration of the effects that we're seeing.
Now, going back to the Earth itself and biodiversity, you mentioned to me that we are in the middle of a mass extinction again. Can you explain what you meant by that?
Yes. So biodiversity is something that I've started working on recently. And it's of great concern because biodiversity is being lost very quickly at the moment in our planet. And one of the things I mentioned to you was that we believe, or scientists believe, that Earth is undergoing its 6th mass extinction. So what does that mean? That means that we are losing biodiversity, we're losing flora and fauna at a rate that has not been seen since the dinosaurs were wiped out of this Earth.
Oh, wow.
65, 66 million years ago. Yes, so that is the accelerated loss of biodiversity that's currently going on in our planet. And the main reason for that loss of biodiversity is because of human activities, because we are destroying habitats, both on land and in the ocean. In the ocean, we're overfishing, we're destroying corals. On land, forests are being cut for grazing, for agriculture, and biodiversity is being lost at a quicker rate than we can even document it.
Wow. Let alone replenish.
Correct.
Restore.
Correct. So there's been some dire warnings from international agencies about needing to do something very quickly in order to slow down this massive loss of biodiversity that our planet is currently undergoing.
And I know that it has a lot of economic ramifications too, because I've studied a little bit of that. I talked to one of the originators of the original Green New Deal in 2007, and there's a lot of economics that goes into that, and planning that, and planning how you create that 10-year transition, right? Because you also have to think in terms of people need jobs, and as well as how the technology is going to make that transition that has to be made. And same thing, with animal agriculture because of the methane, right? And then the fires that we've seen in Brazil and Australia on a massive scale. I mean, we're losing some very important. In Brazil, we're losing a lot of the rainforest, the tropical rainforest that we need to maintain the biodiversity that you're talking about, right?
Correct.
And so, and thinking in terms of, how long would it take to restore that?
It might not even happen.
Yeah.
It's in many cases, species are lost, and they're just lost forever. And that is very concerning. I mean, you talked about the wildfires. They were huge in the Amazon in Australia. They were massive. And I read that 500 billion animals were lost.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them were probably lost forever.
Yeah.
A lot of species were just lost forever.
Yeah.
And habitats destroyed. I mean, even the ones that survived, for them to come back to healthy populations will probably take a long time.